I'll stand on that I don't think anything happens in Golden State without Steph Curry. If he says it directly, with a wink or a nod through his agent, whatever it is, but they're not going to make any moves to that core and break up that dynastic team unless he's on board with that idea.
The Warriors are currently sitting at 12th in the Western Conference, well out of the playoffs and even out of the play-in. This puts the franchise in a tough spot since their first-round pick for this season was traded as top 4 protected, and they don't seem bad enough to be able to keep it. On the other hand, they don't seem good enough to be able to put the wins together to compete at the next level. So what now? Hey, what's happening everyone? This is Swish Culture. On this channel, we've looked at all the reasons the team is struggling, including individual players, coaches, front office, even the league officiating. With the trade deadline right around the corner, the Warriors have a very small window of opportunity. First off, let's be clear. The Warriors franchise has done more than any other team to keep their core guys together. Up to this point, doing so has been their best shot at winning a championship. With the chemistry developed over the last 12 years and the fact that Klay and Draymond have remained high-level role players, it hasn't been easy to build a bulletproof contender. When Dre and Klay were playing at all-star levels, they were the perfect complementary piece to Stephen Curry. Now that the league has caught up and both are a bit older, it's not quite the same anymore. Although he's still mostly effective, Draymond isn't as athletic, so that's a challenge. Klay Thompson made a miraculous comeback from 2 career-ending injuries and has lost a couple of steps and shooting with less proficiency. Even Steph Curry, who started out the season carrying the team through the first 6 games, isn't playing as well as he has in his best years. If you can recall, even in their best years, it was still a challenge to beat the best teams in the league. It's much easier to build a team around a single player. You get more flexibility in moving pieces, and the cost will likely be much less because players know they will get high-level roles. When you try to keep 3 players, a problem unique to the Warriors, now you don't have starting roles available, and the spots you could fill have been notoriously vacant for the past 5 years. Not only that, you don't even have the cash to pay the guys that you would need to seriously contend, because let's be serious, with a 12 seed, your team, regardless of whether you think it's players, coaches, or general management issues, is telling you that they aren't able to compete in this current configuration. As such, reports had come out that the Warriors are listening to trade offers on Andrew Wiggins, Chris Paul, and Klay Thompson. Today I'm going to look at what possibilities might be out there that we haven't already covered, so if you'd like to know what I found, be sure to like the video and subscribe to Swish Culture for the most analytical and entertaining NBA content on the planet. So without further delay, let's get to it. There are 10 NBA teams paying luxury taxes this season, and the Warriors top the list. That means the Warriors franchise is paying more money in taxes than any other team in order to keep this core of players together. Do you recall how offensive it was to hear CBS reporter Brian Windhorst say the Warriors' win in 2022 was a checkbook win? In just one sentence, this man attempted to discredit the fact that Steph Curry carried this team to another championship with Andrew Wiggins as his second best player. Let me say that again. In 2022, the Warriors' second best player was Andrew Wiggins, and the team was just good enough 2 years ago to beat the Boston Celtics. This season, you can't find anyone who would tell you that Wiggins is the second best player on the Warriors. Think critically. When was the last time that the Warriors won a championship where Klay Thompson was the second best player? I'll give you a hint. It was the year Steph Curry won his first championship. So there are 5 teams in each conference that are paying luxury taxes this season. The luxury tax bracket right now is set at about $165 million, so any team paying more than that amount in payroll taxes gets hit with a luxury tax surcharge. The team currently paying the least amount in luxury taxes, that is, the team that has the 10th highest payroll in the league, are the Los Angeles Lakers, who are currently paying $3 million in luxury taxes for being $1.5 million over the limit. The Warriors, on the other hand, are currently paying, get ready for this, $186 million for being $41 million over the tax limit. To put it in the simplest terms, the Warriors are paying an entire second NBA roster to keep Klay Thompson's salary. If you were wondering why the team is even entertaining trade offers on Klay Thompson, put simply, if they paid Klay what they're paying Saric, the team would save $186 million. The only other team close to the Warriors' tax bill are the LA Clippers, who are paying $142 million. After that, the third highest paying team drops to $50 million. At the end of the day, you pay your players as an investment, and right now, the Thunder and Timberwolves are looking like winning investments with no luxury taxes and are still top 3 in the Western Conference. Looking at the standings, the team with the highest luxury taxes is ranked the lowest among them. This only points to one thing, and that is, these results are unsustainable. Considering the Warriors have a new general manager in Mike Dunleavy Jr., that leaves the coaching staff and the players. Now, we're not saying the team should get rid of Klay Thompson, but even without the luxury tax issue, you can see the motivation behind trying to build a winning team. Being 12th in any conference puts you in the lottery, and with Steph Curry on the roster, the front office will look at any option available to try to make this team a contender. Regardless of what the team does this trade deadline, they have 2 expiring salaries in Klay Thompson and Chris Paul. Chris Paul's $30 million contract is fairly simple. He walks in the offseason, and the Warriors cut their tax bill from $186 million to around $20 million. But letting Klay Thompson walk in free agency isn't exactly ideal. If he walks and the Warriors get nothing in return, that limits what the Warriors can offer a replacement player in free agency. Now, we've covered the fact that Klay Thompson was offered a 2-year $48 million deal, which is now off the table, so the best option would be to either trade him at the deadline or try to do a sign and trade in free agency. What's interesting is that there was a rumor stating that the front office is hoping Klay Thompson gets a big contract offer in free agency and he signs elsewhere, which could indicate that the team is less inclined to move him at the deadline and will be more flexible in the offseason in a possible sign and trade. This would allow KT to get paid what he thinks he deserves, or whatever the market thinks he's worth, and allow the Warriors to cut down a significant portion of their luxury tax. This is all, of course, if Klay stays on the roster past the deadline, but if a team is desperate, they might be willing to send assets to the Warriors in exchange for a veteran shooter like Klay Thompson. While in this case, typically a young team with assets that need a locker room veteran that can still give you good minutes off the bench could trade for a guy like Klay, the Warriors are looking for win-now players. Klay is looking to get paid, so his role would have to be on a contender, and that will depend on which team sees him as such. A team like the Lakers or the Mavericks could utilize him, but if you take out the championship aspiration and maybe he just wants to get paid, a team like the Hornets could likely use him next to LaMelo Ball in a starting role to jumpstart their rebuild. The Pistons could use him as well, considering that as of late they've been trading for veterans to try to put a few wins together. They could use him for an expiring contract and possibly re-sign him to a nice return if he plays well. He'd definitely get the minutes on that Detroit roster. The last team that would be interested are the Wizards, who recently stated that they are willing to take on bad contracts. The only thing is, the Warriors would have to send some talent their way. The Warriors would have the opportunity to do the most ridiculous thing and trade for Poole. But more than likely, they'd probably go for a guy like Kuzma, whose salary is only half of Klay's. Any of the above teams would work as long as he doesn't go and play next to LeBron. I'm sure the Warriors fan base would be livid if he went to the Lakers. Chris Paul's situation is not nearly as complicated. He's on an expiring contract, but with his 5th wrist fracture, it doesn't seem he's able to handle the workload required to go through the entirety of a regular season and then be competitive in the playoffs. While the Warriors were attracted to his expiring contract, believe it or not, the team was hoping for someone with availability to lead the second unit. His value is pretty low at the moment, so I'm not expecting a contender to pick him up, although his friend and best buddy LeBron James might be willing to give him a crack with the Lake Show. Outside of that, the Warriors might be able to do the second funniest thing ever and send CP3 back to the Wizards. Such a trade would require the Warriors offloading a player like Pods or Moody and picks. The Hornets might be in play if they're looking to move off Hayward, although he doesn't exactly move the needle for the Warriors, and they are looking for players that can create for the rest of the team. Believe it or not, the team might be better off hoping he stays healthy. But if not, be ready to pair him with a young player to either trade with a team like the Hawks, who are looking to move DeJounte Murray, or the Pelicans, who are looking to move off of Herb Jones. Jones is a long 6'7" forward who provides excellent POA defense and can compete right now at a high level. The Pelicans don't think they'll be able to afford Jones in the upcoming season, with Ingram and Williamson likely to command huge salaries for 2025 and McCollum extended through 2027. Therefore, a player like CP3 could be attractive for his expiring contract. If the Pelicans pair Jones with Valanciunas, this could give the Warriors a serious chance to contend this season. A trade could see the Warriors put Pods, CP3, and a 2026 first-round pick for Herb Jones, Jonas Valanciunas, and Dyson Daniels. This gives the Warriors a legit stretch five and one of the best defenders in the league in Herb Jones. Lastly, Wiggins we've already discussed to some extent. He's played a lot better since that last video I uploaded on the Warriors' intent to trade him, and while they still intend to, his recent uptick in production could make the front office think twice. The fact that the Warriors lost 6 of their last 8 games weighs heavily, and any wins between now and the deadline may be inconsequential. The fact that he just made it back into the starting lineup alongside Kuminga and Draymond, making the Warriors' toughest defensive lineup with an 84 defensive rating and a 130 offensive rating. The Wiggins-Kuminga tandem was a -20 net rating, and Steve Kerr mentioned the two weren't playing well together. So when Draymond was added to the mix, the trio posted the best defensive rating and overall net rating. If you've been paying attention, this has been the biggest issue for Golden State. The problem with Wiggins and Kuminga is that Wiggins is in a position where he needs to be a leader, but unfortunately, Wiggins doesn't have the leadership mentality that it takes to lead the team defensively. He's great, however, as a second option, and playing behind Draymond on defense and behind Curry on offense brought out the best in him in the championship season. If Draymond can't help him stay motivated this season, it's still best if the Warriors move him to a team that thinks they could use him. Wiggins, who's on contract for another 3 years, could possibly go to the Wizards if he stays passive, or the Mavericks if he continues to show out for the next few games. I won't rehash details I already went over in the last video though, so if you want to see that, I'll have that link posted at the end of this video, so be sure to check it out. If any of these trades work out over the next week or so, the Warriors could make a push for the playoffs. The next 3 months will be the toughest challenge for the Warriors core, and with that championship window closing, could be the last. Which of these trades do you think the Warriors should go with? Post your thoughts in the comments below, but before that, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all your notifications so you don't miss any of my latest uploads. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Swish!